Yeah, the credits pissed me off.
I was pumped.
So I was watching the credits, and I was watching for one thing. A special tribute to the late Sean Connery and the late Roger Moore, who both died in between the making of this film, Inspector. There was nothing in the credits to eulogize their death, to remember their deaths. Nothing.
That's a good
Two
point.
of the most iconic Bonds. The original James Bond. Nothing.
And,
I found that very interesting.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
but
Good point.
yeah,
Good catch.
because I was like, okay, well, where's the Connery thing at? Because he just died literally this year, I think, or last year. It was in the last 10 months. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, basically.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that. I was like, really? Okay, Bond. You want to call yourself a Bond movie? You don't even want to pay tribute to the originals? And that's where it leads into my biggest issue with this film. Now that we're talking about kind of our final thoughts, this doesn't feel like a James Bond movie at all. This just feels like a spy flick because the character of James Bond doesn't really act like James Bond. They really lean into the relationship factor of him and Madeline in this film. There's so many scenes where he's like professing his love to her and like this really like sappy like dialogue. And I was sitting there like, this doesn't feel like something Bond would do. It just doesn't. It doesn't really like. The only thing that makes me think this is Bond is that it's Daniel Craig. Like the dialogue, the way he behaves in this film just doesn't feel like James Bond. It's not necessarily bad. It's just not Bond. So I don't think. Like, I think if you just completely reskinned this movie and had like same actors but literally just like different character names and different names of things,
right?
And made this just a generic spy movie, it would have been really great. But
yeah,
James Bond comes with so much baggage, narratively, the character, the way, the writing, it all comes with a lot of baggage and a lot of expectations. And if the film doesn't have that feeling, then it's going to stick out in that sort of way. And that's just how it felt to me personally. But I mean, I can totally understand how people would love this film because it has great action. It's really good looking. It's really well acted. It's just, for me, the story, again, same kind of problem I had with Spectre, only I thought this was better done, but just like because of the action. But just for me, it's just like it didn't feel very fulfilling because it didn't feel like Bond. Bond crying and complaining about his feelings, just like that's not James Bond to me. Like that's fine. Like if you want to make a character that's vulnerable like that, I don't have a problem with that. But like, don't make it James Bond. That's not James Bond. James Bond is confident. He's suave. He's but he's also he's willing to take advantage of people to get to a means, to get to a goal. And it's like, you just didn't get really any of that sense in this film. And you hadn't, I mean, and you got it. And also the charm of James Bond was something that I really missed in this entire Daniel Craig series. Craig just kind of lacked the charm of some of the original Bonds. And I mean, I know they were kind of going for that in the original, in Casino Royale, but I mean, as the films went on, it just, he didn't really show very much personality.
More cold.
He was very cold. I agree. Which, for Bond, he needs to be a little bit more, wittier.
The charming.
And that comes down to the writing. I don't even blame Daniel Craig as much as I just blame the writing for some of these films. But, and especially on the latter end.
I will say, why it probably doesn't feel like a Bond movie is because it was a setup for whatever they have planned for, the new 00. They're definitely going to bring in Paloma because Paloma's still around. So, definitely.
Do you think they're going to make another movie attached to this, or do you think they're just going to straight reboot Bond? I think they're going to just straight reboot Bond with somebody else. Idris Elba, or they'll do like.
I think they'll reboot her. I mean, why would you not keep Lashana Lynch? Like, I thought she was great. Like, she definitely has that badass material.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, where do you go with this story, like, without James Bond? Like, that's the thing. Like, how do you expand this universe without James Bond? It's like, it just, I don't know. I don't really find any of those characters interesting enough to have their own standalone films. But I mean, if they do,
you make
they
a good
do.
Point,
but
like, who, like, what? Like, I bet Ian Fleming is rolling over his grave.
A 007 story.
Yeah, exactly. What? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I think they just got to straight. What I think they should do is just take a break from this IP for 10 years, or at least 5. At least 5 of just no James Bond. Just get it out of people's minds and then come back with a hard comeback, a hard reboot in 10 years from now. But like,
Yeah.
just to, do it all and just keep dragging on this story that just really wasn't honestly that interesting to begin with, in my opinion. I mean, this is just straight up, being very subjective, but
No, you're good. That's what we do.
but yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just I was looking for a little bit more. There's a great movie in here. That's what I thought. That was like the first thing I thought when I walked out. I'm like, this could have been really great if it was about 25 minutes shorter. Really kind of focused on one villain. Kind of made this more of a contained story than trying to, and that's where